Goeienaand. Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Now, you have to take your hats off for the sheer brilliance of the ANC government. It has only taken them 25 years to run a very, very strong economy into the ground. How have they done that? Big thing. Corruption, incompetence, and through racist policies like BEE and BBBEE. What does BEE stand for? Black Economic Empowerment. What have they done? Exactly the reverse. They've had a few years with their noses deep in the trough, stealing everything that South Africa owns. And they have cleaned up. You have to look no further than the Guptas and Zuma and Ramaphosa himself, a multi-billionaire in rands. And guess what? They're all ready for their plan B, which is when the ship sinks, they're going to scuttle off like rats to somewhere like Dubai, where they've got apartments and they've got their money set up. You know, this is the absolute idiocy of what has happened since 1994. And, you know, the black population in South Africa, they don't give a stuff about them. It's all about themselves. South Africa is bankrupt. South Africa is bankrupt at so many different levels. And I'm going to give you the proof. Several state companies and municipalities are scrambling to find money to pay salaries, and unions are not happy about it, reports the City Press. From the 3,700 Denel employees who were paid only 85% of their salaries after a long delay, to municipalities that are yet to pay employees for May and June, South Africa's state institutions and provincial structures are in financial trouble. According to the City Press, pay insecurity has hit the likes of Denel, Metrorail, Prasa, and like the SABC. What about South African Airways? They're all in the same boat. They're sinking fast. And citing a report from South African Municipal Workers Union, or SAMWU, presented to Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma on June the 21st, the paper further highlights 30 municipalities in the country where employees were not being paid due to lack of funds. For example, employees at the Amalati municipality in the Eastern Cape have not received their salaries for May or June, the paper said, reporting that employees were last paid in April. The 30 municipalities were spread across the country, found in every province except the Western Cape, with SAMWU threatening strike action if the problems are not resolved by the end of June. Now, there's one statistical fact that I have to tell you, that out of 257 municipalities, only 16 had a clean audit. And you know that 12 of those municipalities with a clean audit were in the Western Cape. And there's one common denominator there, and that is that they are basically run, those municipalities are basically run by white people. If you look at the rest of the country, where you've got BEE, employees, mayors, councillors, all with their noses deep in the trough, all the way from the top, going all the way down, they have cleaned out the kitty. So they're all basically bankrupt. That's what's happened. And services, good luck if you live in a municipality like Durban, or you can pretty well point a stick at any municipality, because who is going to keep on providing electricity, water? How are unpaid staff going to keep on looking after maintenance of sewerage and things like that? It's all coming to an end, guys. And that's why I said the other day, build a septic tank or a long drop in your backyard, because you're probably going to need it. South Africa is reverting back to the dark ages. Very, very quick. As I said at the very start, it only took 25 years for this ANC government to drive the economy into the ground, completely into the ground. And black economic empowerment, yep, that's what's happened. Let's continue. Pay issues do not come as a surprise, given the latest audit report on the state of municipalities in South Africa. The latest report from the Auditor General showed a shocking decline in the state of the country's municipalities over the last year, where local government role players were slow in implementing or completely disregarded the audit officer's previous recommendations for improvement. The AG ordered 257 municipalities and 21 municipal entities for the 2017-18 period. Of the audited municipalities, the audit outcomes of 63 regressed, while those of 22 improved. Only 18 municipalities managed to produce quality financial statements and performance reports, as well as complied with all key legislation, thereby receiving a clean audit. Only 18. That's about 7% of all the municipalities in South Africa. You can see how deep the corruption's running. Not only did the unqualified opinions of the financial statements decrease from 61% to 51%, but the quality of the financial statements provided for auditing was even worse than before, the Attorney General said. Only 19% of the municipalities could give us financial statements without material misstatements, he said. A large portion of South African state companies are currently heavily reliant on the state for bailouts. The SABC is currently waiting on government approval of a 3.2 billion rand bailout, which will allow the broadcaster to continue operations. However, there are serious doubts over whether government can spare the funds. So far, the SABC has been using whatever money it could find to pay salaries, but this has led to shortfalls in payments in other areas. Earlier in June, the group's chief financial officer, Yolande van Biljon, warned that the broadcaster could be forced off the air if debtors came knocking. In April, the government was forced to pay out funds to Eskom early due to financial distress at the power utility. It is expected to receive further financial support from government following a 69 billion rand guaranteed pledge from the government over the next 3 years. Now, I just put up a video earlier this evening about how 480 extremely skilled staff who had been retrenched from Eskom because of the color of their skin had actually happily volunteered their time to try and sort out the mess with Eskom. And they didn't even get a call back from Fakamani. That is the state of play in South Africa. You know, I keep on saying they shoot themselves in the foot. You got to admit they do it so well, don't they? So well. South African Airways also received a bailout from the government in 2018. However, support for the airline has since dried up, which was cited by former Chief Executive Officer Vuyani Jirana as one of the reasons for his exit. South African Airways needed over 21 billion rand from government to fully implement its turnaround strategy. At the start of the year, it was forced to secure funding from other sources to keep operating due to lack of government support. Look, the reality is that the ANC government should be an administration. And, you know, people who've got expertise, the know-how, the understanding should come in. BEE should be scrapped because it is completely destroying the whole economy of South Africa. And you know who the big losers are? I'll tell you. The big losers are the average black fellow who lives in a township, because they're screaming out for services like water, electricity, and sewerage, and they have no understanding that what's going on is that that whole system that used to be under the National Party pre-1994 has completely imploded, completely collapsed. It's completely defunct. Those days are gone, and it's now impacting everybody in South Africa. Even places like Sandton soon will be having to look at doing septic tanks in the backyard. It is absolutely disgraceful what this ANC government have done. They have totally stuffed South Africa. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, ring the bell for updates, and have a good evening. Bye for now.